right. Hey there, everyone. My name is Alissa Lydon. I'm the Director of Product Marketing at LogDNA, and I'm super excited to be a part of this incredible event with such a formidable speaker lineup. And I just hope that the next 30 minutes we spend together, that I can help share some of my experiences to help anyone who's trying to build a product marketing function from the ground up. In today's talk, I'm going to discuss how important it is to get buy-in and understand how you can best organize across your organization, not just within product marketing, to ensure your success. Because at the end of the day, as the title describes, I believe that product marketing is best served when it's served as a team sport within organizations. So with that, I'd love to give you a little bit more background on who I am before we dive into the presentation. So I joined LogDNA almost 1 year ago as the first product marketing hire to build the function from scratch. Before my time at LogDNA, I led a team of 6 amazing product marketers at a company called Sauce Labs, where I was there for about 7 years. Before my time as a product marketer, I arrived by way of a number of different jobs, including event marketing, sales, and then before I even took a step into the business world, I was a teacher. And then, yes, you're reading that right, I was also a professional softball player in another life. So hopefully for some of you, you can start to see why I titled my talk in such a way. And don't worry if you're curious, there are plenty of other sports analogies that are coming during this presentation. But truly, my sports background has informed everything about how I approach my career in business. Which is probably why when I describe my work philosophy here at the bottom, I think of this quote. It's an African proverb, says, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. Really speaks to my emphasis on teamwork and bringing as many people in as possible to identify and achieve common goals. I mean, when you look at the function of a product marketer, it's almost like I was meant to land in this type of function. So super excited to be at this event to meet and understand and learn from so many like-minded folks. All right, so now let's get into the presentation itself. And really before I get into the meat, I first just want to level set and just say what might be the obvious, but I think it's really important to understand that as you're building a product marketing function from scratch and the time does come to scale, how you organize your team is super important. And I've seen it done multiple different ways, and each have their own benefits and drawbacks. You can organize by product line, product A, product B, product C, and the subsets of features. There might be some overlap here and there, but usually that can be a pretty clean way to start off a product marketing function. You can organize based on personas or verticals, whether it's buyers, end users, influencers, or on the vertical side, you could do fintech, you could do e-commerce, whatever makes sense for your business. You could also organize by specialty. Actually, I do like this type of organization of a product marketing team where you get product marketers who are really adept at certain functions within the product marketing discipline. One might be really good at competitive intelligence. Another might really be laser focused on enablement strategies, absent, a sales enablement manager in your organization. Someone might be really focused on, doing customer interviews and research or market research. These are all part underneath the umbrella of product marketing. And so you could organize in that way. All really valid ways to organize and super important. I could do a whole talk just on this itself. But when I take a step back and think about product marketing as a function, the first thing I realize right off the bat is that for all of the work that we do to look internally within the product marketing org to optimize teams for success, the fact of the matter is that product marketing never, ever, ever exists in a vacuum. I knew this before I started at LogDNA. When I was at Sauce Labs, we were all working very cross-functionally, and that larger team really understood that. But really, when I became the only product marketer, serving a larger go-to-market team, I felt it a lot more acutely, that feeling that I'm only one person and my work never, ever really exists in that vacuum. I truly believe that product marketing is the greatest job in any organization. And it's mainly because we get to have that influence on everything that is happening. We literally touch so many things that you'll see in a second. It's kind of one of those things where people almost get confused, like, but wait, what is product marketing responsible for? And it's because we have that influence. We focus on the product, the customer, the market. We're a really invaluable partner to a lot of different teams by becoming that trusted expert. And as a result, we have a say in messaging, positioning. We launch products. We define go-to-market strategy. There's a whole bunch more. The list goes on and on. It's a super high visibility role, as you all know, and when it's done right, it results in the highest levels of influence in the organization, which is super exciting. But at the end of the day, especially when I take a step back and look at my role at Log DNA, 10 or so months in, with all that influence, I realized that I actually own very little in terms of execution as a product marketer. And that's because, at the end of the day, we're creating this messaging, positioning, we're doing competitive intelligence, we're, doing all that research to get a really differentiated point of view, but it's sales that's giving that pitch. The SEs are demoing the product. They're the ones that are combating FUD and hearing the results in real time and really reaping the rewards and closing deals. My marketing counterparts are the ones that are taking that messaging and positioning we've created, and they're the ones who are executing those campaigns to drive, lead gen efforts, improve conversion rates and things like that. Really, even recruiting is taking advantage and executing on a lot of the work that we do as product marketers, and kind of taking our messaging and framing it in such a way that'll make our Log DNA attractive to candidates. So we really have outsized influence, but in terms of being able to put our hands on something and execute, we're actually very limited in scope. And so as I've experienced almost 1 year of being a product marketing team of one, which I am expanding right now, I'm hiring, #I'm hiring if anyone wants to learn more about Log DNA. But after that 1 year of being the only product marketing resource, I came to the conclusion that really great product marketers have a lot in common with great sports coaches. We wield our influence that we create throughout the organization to recruit as many people as possible to kind of join the cause that we're outlining and deliver on the story that we want to tell in the market. Of course, now that you know my sports background, you can kind of understand why I want to make that comparison, but I do think it is true. In fact, I think that there are a lot of really key traits that we can observe and learn from when it comes to great sports coaches and employ some of their strategies to help amplify the efforts of product marketing. That's especially true when you're building the function from the ground up. So when you do look at great coaches, like I said, there are a number of common traits that they possess. And I think product marketers do a lot of the same work when you really think about it. So starting from the left here, first, they're focused on education. Product marketers are focused on educating. This gentleman here, John Wooden, for anyone who doesn't know him, was a basketball coach at UCLA. And he really fundamentally changed not just the game of basketball, but really the way coaches think about motivating athletes. He created this thing called the Pyramid of Success, which is a framework that helped him get buy-in from his players as they better understood how they could achieve their ultimate goals, all within the constructs of a team environment. And PMM really does the same thing. I'll get more into that in just a second. But moving on to the middle one here, second, a lot of coaches, great coaches, really master the art of communication. This guy here, Steve Kerr, the head coach of the Warriors. I'm from the Bay Area, so of course I have to shout out a Bay Area team. He's here on the floor talking with his players. And if you've ever seen him in action there, if you've seen him at the podium answering questions for press after games, you can see he has a very earnest communication style. He's very open, and it helps kind of show why he has a great reputation. His players really respect him. Now, as an aside, he comes from the Phil Jackson coaching tree, the great coach of the Chicago Bulls. So it's really no surprise if you know the game of basketball. But this connects to product marketers as well. I mean, this is a core competency of our job. We need to have that same level of transparent communication from the get-go, and not just only that output of communication into other areas of the organization, but really when you really start accelerating your goals, you're creating opportunities for a two-way street of communication, bi-directional communication, where people feel like they're an extension of our team, and that's because they are. We always call folks who help out the marketing team, you're a friend of marketing. Everyone is a friend of product marketing, and it should be as such. And finally, on the right-hand side, great coaches know the importance of celebration. This is Jim Harbaugh, who's actually the coach of the Michigan football team now, but he's here. This picture is him when he was the coach at Stanford, which is also my alma mater. So I had to do a call out to my alma mater, go Card. But Jim Harbaugh is really well known in the sports world as a player's coach, and in no small part because he exudes this intense passion for the game of football, and he celebrates his love for football with his players and when his teams succeed, so that he really wins over his players quite easily. It's like a big personality trait of his, that he can win over any type of player and get him on the same side as him. And for product marketing, celebration is not only just a fun way to create connections with folks on other teams, but it's not only making people feel great, but as a result, kind of a downstream effect is that we're showing the success of cross-functional collaboration, and maybe recruit more people who might be interested in either getting involved or really raising their hand to learn more about what product marketing can do for them. Because at the end of the day, product marketing is serving everyone in the organization to help accelerate their goals. So let's dive into each of these a little bit more. And I'll start with education. Education is all around this idea that, again, I think I mentioned this earlier in the talk. I think a lot of times when you come in as a product marketer, especially the first one, everyone's really excited because people understand inherently that product marketing is a big need within the organization. But you face the same question over and over again, which is, what exactly does product marketing do? And the fact of the matter is that answer, my answer to what product marketing does, is going to be really different from what another speaker here at this conference might say product marketing is, or really anyone here in the audience. If we were live and in person, I'd point to a couple of you and have you define for me what you think product marketing is. And that's okay. It's a really it's a role with tons of influence, lots of areas for you to dive in, and other areas where you just might not have the time and resources to be able to devote. So you have to outsource to other teams. And so it's really important that as you're building your function from the beginning, to take the time to truly educate everyone in your organization what product marketing does, and more importantly, how it can help them achieve their goals, augment their own work, really accelerate their initiatives, because that's when you start getting the buy-in. And there are a number of different tactics that can help with this effort of education and really teaching people what good product marketing looks like. The first I actually pictured here is a screenshot of a framework that I developed in partnership with my boss, our VP of marketing at LogDNA, who's Dave Steer. Shout out to Dave. He's also a former product marketer. And so I actually took this framework from him to help teach everyone at LogDNA what exactly product marketing can be for them. And I know it's a bit of a tough to read, but essentially it's a green, yellow, red framework that allows me to kind of define the key tenets of product marketing. And so you'll see for me on the left, it was feedback loops, messaging, product launches, and enablement. The next boxes over are a definition of what world-class looks like in each of those focus areas. And then it's an honest assessment of where we are now and where we hope to be in the future, or where we're striving to go towards. Whether it's, I think this one's an annual look. It could also be quarterly or a half one, half two comparison. So this can really help center everyone and get a common understanding of what exactly product marketing can do. Another great tactic here is taking the time to write a team charter. When I became the head of product marketing at Sauce Labs, that was actually a piece of advice I got from one of my colleagues there, who's a leader, a product leader. And he said, take the time to sit down and write out an extensive team charter. What is product marketing responsible for? What is it not responsible for? What are our core operating principles? How do we work best? Where do we connect with other teams? So that was a really useful effort. And what's great is I took that charter and I've been able to carry it with me into my new role at Log DNA and beyond. It's just a foundational document that I can point anyone to when they really want to understand what product marketing is responsible for. That's a great tool in my toolbox. And of course, there are lots of other frameworks out there that are available. There's the Pragmatic Framework, there's the Product Marketing Alliance Product Marketing Framework. These are really good tools that you can put in front of your organization and start to have a point of view on what you believe product marketing should be within your organization, and get that feedback and constantly, fine tune. Another downstream benefit of this is if you do this type of education up front, then you lessen the risk of kind of spreading yourself so thin across all of these different initiatives you could have influence in, where you start to get overwhelmed and burned out. By taking control of educating everyone what you think product marketing is, it really helps you stay focused on the task at hand. All right, communication. Again, as I mentioned before, this is all about being able to create open and honest dialogues that are bi-directional, create that two-way street. And that's all about just making the product marketing function as visible as possible. If you don't like, doing speaking tours across to other teams, or if you don't like being in the spotlight a lot, then product marketing can be a difficult job at the leadership level, because you have to make those connections and be present in those spaces. There are lots of ways that product marketers already do this without knowing about it. And for me, it's just all about making sure that I'm constantly checking in with my key stakeholders. That's your product managers, that's your counterparts in marketing and counterparts in the field. It can be leadership roles, it can be people that you really trust, individual contributors that you really trust their opinion. Make sure that you're constantly checking in with them, so that way you can provide the information that they need to be successful, but more importantly, they can give you the feedback you need that can help you, refine that message, or understand where you need to look next in your competitive intelligence work, whatever it may be. At Log DNA, we do a weekly What's Shipping meeting, where we've identified a number of key stakeholders across sales, success, solutions engineering, product, engineering, and we have these weekly meetings where we all get together and we discuss kind of what's being built right now, what the timelines look for different launches. And more importantly, we hold space for anyone who's in that meeting to be able to come with feedback, questions, ideas, to make sure that everyone feels a part of the process. And it's not just they're just waiting for the word from product marketing. It should always be a collaborative experience. And then finally, again, just being visible at all times, prioritize making enablement a regular occurrence. Even if there isn't much to talk about in an enablement session, just hold that space, especially for sales folks and anyone who's in the field. I come from a sales background, so I have a lot of empathy for those who are on the front lines, who are, actually using the messaging in market and, getting those real-time, the real-time reactions to it. So hold that space for them, and, come at it from a collaborative point of view, rather than, again, just feeling like you have to be the one that provides all the information all the time. So that's communication. The last one is celebration. And this is probably my favorite one, again, because it's fun. It really allows for me to show how much more powerful we can be as a team when we all work together, when product marketing is able to integrate and communicate effectively with different teams. And that's just all about acknowledging those stakeholders or those teammates who do well when they achieve their goals. And this just gets everyone excited, especially now in an environment where a lot of us are working remotely. Find ways to break up the monotony of yet another Zoom meeting or yet another, working session, when we can instead take the time to just celebrate. There are lots of different ways we can do that. I've started implementing launch retros at Log DNA. We're finally being able to kind of take that look back, but within the framework of a retro, we can identify areas where we really did well. Obviously, we're also going to identify areas where we need to improve, but really taking the time to focus in on the successes, I think makes everyone feel good that, like, okay, this is working, this is helping. Taking the time, I know when we do launches, we do a lot of external comms work. We, help draft press releases, blog posts, whatever it may be. Take the time to have an action item to do an internal comms. tour as well. It can be as simple as sending an email out to everyone or a Slack message in like the general channel. Just find the time to call people out and recognize them for when they successfully collaborate with PMM to deliver real results. Obviously, there are lots of ways you can, give kudos, give physical gifts, recognition. We have an internal reward system at LogDNA where we give people points. Use those sorts of levers, pull those levers to your advantage to be able to show people this is exciting stuff. And then as a result, you'll get more interest. It's kind of a flywheel sort of effect. So those are the three strategies that can help you create that team sport of product marketing. I think that for education, and as far as goaling on these, because I know that's really important to a lot of folks, is being able to understand, okay, how do I goal against product marketing deliverables? And if it's something that if it's a function of we're not doing a lot in terms of the execution, or it seems like we're not doing a lot in terms of execution, how do we goal effectively? I think using these three markers, education, communication, celebration, can be a great kind of fertile ground to help, generate some goals. So for education, when I started at LogDNA, like I mentioned, I created that green, yellow, red framework, and I updated my charter to fit LogDNA. And I toured those to every team. I made it a goal of mine that, by the end of my first 120 days or so, I had a meeting with every team at LogDNA and given them a presentation of what I think product marketing is, where we are today, and where I think we could be in the future. And then just using those frameworks, the frameworks you use to educate, those are great evergreen documents that you can, kind of set goals against, and then do regular check-ins and understand, like, have we moved the needle on becoming better at feedback loops or messaging or whatever it may be. For communication, goaling on enablement is always really difficult, because at the end of the day, we can enable a sales team till the cows come home, but if they're not if they're not closing deals, then there's obviously a breakdown there. But I would argue that in the early days, setting up a regular cadence of enablement is a big win, especially at organizations that have never had product marketing before. So I think it's okay to have output goals around enablement in the beginning, and then as you get more sophisticated and scale out your team, we can talk about connecting it to revenue goals, win-loss percentages, things like that. And then just creating those shared channels and getting engagement on them, making sure that if it is a Slack channel, it's a Slack channel where ideas just don't go to die once they scroll up the Slack page, right? Is it a shared Google Drive for certain assets? Is it is it a meeting? Is it a regular standing meeting with, a notes document? Being able to wrangle all of that and have people feel like their voices are being heard is no small feat. So definitely something to consider for new product marketing functions. And then for celebration, it's all around launch success for me right now, being able to identify what a successful launch looks like from a metrics perspective, and then using those as our North Star so we can understand when we did well so we can celebrate. And then finally, I can't believe I've done I've talked for about 24 minutes now, and I haven't brought up customer stories, because as you know, the customer is at the center of everything a product marketer does. But I'll mention it now. Customer stories are always a great way to be able to really bring to life the success that we're seeing as an organization. Even though it's anecdotal and not as hard and fast as data and metrics, a good customer story goes a really long way for boosting the morale of everyone in the organization, especially in a startup environment where, we're always on, always going. Breaking up that monotony with the story of a customer who really appreciates our solution and that it's really kind of changed the way they work or really improved their life, can really create that celebratory mood where people will want more of that. And so they'll look to product marketing, to partner with product marketing to help deliver on those sorts of more of those stories. And then finally there in the bottom right, the big secret to it all. And this is something that I tell everyone at LogDNA still to this day, is the real secret to all of this is for all the processes that we create and all of the high visibility work that we're doing as product marketers and a lot of the credit that sometimes we get as a result. I truly believe that my success is only predicated on the success of everyone else around me. Because the fact of the matter is that everyone at LogDNA or everyone at your company, everyone's already doing product marketing. They just don't know that they're doing it yet, right? Everyone is out there delivering messaging, delivering positioning. They're hearing competitive intel and feedback. They're gathering insights on the market as a whole. It's our job as product marketers to have everyone understand that that work is product marketing, and how can we amplify that, without having to build a team of 50 product marketers. How can we enlist everyone else to be an extension of the product marketing team to help to help further kind of all of the things that we're responsible for. So with that is the end of the presentation. My email and my Twitter handle are there. I'm happy to continue the conversation and hear your feedback, especially if you're also building out a product marketing function with a team of one. I'd be super interested to learn about your strategies for getting that buy-in, but hopefully this was super helpful for everyone, and looking forward to seeing everyone around at different sessions and learning more. Thanks so much. Have a great day.